back on track with staffing. Um, so while we meet those most immediate needs in terms of requests, um, we haven't been able to order above and beyond a lot of those things. Um, so two areas that I'd like to propose extensions to budget are canopy um, as and the craft carts. So as John noted in his treasurer's report, we're right on with spending for our e-resources. However, if you look down into the individual line items, we are over about $40 in canopy at this point. Canopy picked up steam this fall in terms of usage, and it's mostly leveled off. But at the current rate we're spending, of course, now we're over budget about $50, and unless we cut it off completely, we'll be over budget. We are under budget in terms of ordering individual e-titles from Overdrive. Again, that's part of our slowdown in terms of staff capacity. Canopy is similar and unique, similar to to Hoopla in terms of how staff can dictate usage for that. So we can dictate the number of uses that an individual has. At the beginning of the pandemic, because we weren't ordering physical, we raised it up significantly. So we were, I think, initially at 10 uses per person pre-pandemic, and now we're at 16 uses per person. Taking a look at lowering that down if we wanted to, bring our costs down. Most people aren't sitting and doing what they do on Netflix and binge watching. A lot of the titles we have are indie titles. There are some series, and they're increasing the number of series on, but mostly we have a broad base of users who are at 5 uses and under. So lowering that cap won't really serve us well in terms of budget reduction. I would like to increase the budget. We're spending about $1,600 a month on canopy. For an additional $8,000 to budget for the end of this fiscal year. And so that's my proposal there. I think it's great that our patrons are using Canopy, Hoopla, and Overdrive. Our numbers there have stayed pretty steady. We haven't seen a major jump in increase, and I think it wasn't ideal that we had to have a pandemic in order for people to start using our e-resources, but we've been encouraging this all along and subscribing to them and doing trainings on them to share them with people, and now people are using them, and they're using them in addition to our physical resources. So as we can see from the increase in our January circulation statistics. So that's Canopy. The craft cart in our kids department has proven to continue to be incredibly popular. It was something that we had pulled out when we had outside library. It's kind of been one of our steady things. It's a great way to do programming where we can develop a craft project that kids can copy. We had paints and gourds out during the holidays. The craft cart has all kinds of supplies. When Omicron was raging, we did pull out some of the seating in the craft tables, but we provided bags so that kids could take craft supplies home, which, I'm sure kids have color crayons and things like that, or maybe they don't, but taking those supplies home that are new and fun and special to them is something that has proven to be very popular. And if you come in, you can see proof of the artwork all over the kids department. So I would like to increase that budget by $600 to get us through the end of this fiscal year, which isn't a whole lot of money, but we're getting close to the cap on that budget. So I'd like to increase that, especially since I don't think we'll be able to jump into programs until much later this spring and close to. Our big thing will be summer reading program. I'm hoping that when we have our new kids librarian in place, our big focus will be really doing a robust summer reading program, having performers come if we can, and really utilizing the park across the street. But in the interim, I'd like to continue to supply our craft cart. Moving on to equipment, as discussed at the January meeting, staff is proposing an additional $19,500 for staff computers. This would be to replace 2 older laptops that staff has been using, myself included, as we can see from the meeting. It has just given me trouble for about 2 weeks, so it's time. We're going to look at for all of the full-time staff, moving towards a model of docking stations, so that we have a flexibility to work at home if necessary. I anticipate that COVID will continue to be with us for the foreseeable future. But not only that, staff having laptops has made us more nimble in terms of weeding projects out in the stacks, because now we're mobile and we can use cart and we're not trucking stacks of books to one stationary location. We're all over the place now. We use them for trainings at staff meetings where we can all be working on following along on a PowerPoint presentation, or we can all be editing a Google Doc at the same time, and it's proving to be incredibly efficient. So we're going to move to a model to that for staff. The other thing that I'll be working with IT on, and this will not incur any costs above what has been already budgeted for public computers, is the virtual desktops for the public computers. Right now we have 3 desktop computers that are operating. They turn on, but the move to virtual desktops will allow us to isolate those. They will, from the network, they will allow IT better ease of access in terms of updating computer software like deep freeze, and support the initiative that we're undertaking to replace Envisionware with libkey. And so we'll work on that. And I want to add in 2 other computers up there for a total of 5 of the public access computers at the main library this spring and improve that service. One thing that we discovered with libkey as we began the implementation process to take the place of Envisionware is that we would need, and this was an unanticipated expense, the libkey, the Envisionware contract is up at the end of this month, and the new libkey costs will replace that. There's no increase in the terms of the cost of libkey versus Envisionware, so it wasn't an additional expense to switch over to libkey. However, in working on that implementation, we found that our coin machine, which is and maybe 15 years old, is too old to actually work with libkey. And so it is necessary to purchase a new coin machine, and that is, the coin machine is attached to our copy machine and part of the print release system so that patrons can pay for their copies or print jobs. So the request for a budget adjustment in that area of spending public computer equipment would be $4,000. And so that all in for budget adjustments is in the amount of $32,100. The breakdown that is there with you in fiscal impact, and staff is proposing to move funds from all areas of the budget to cover that allocation. And those areas include the audit, which came in $3,000 under budget and projected after receiving an estimate from the auditor, which is great. I guess we're so on top of things for less work than we thought they'd be. COVID supplies, and then just funds that will add up to that $32,000 from some of our supplies budget, some from the programs budget. Again, I don't want to touch the summer reading program in particular. So we will have, we do usually straddle the fiscal year with summer reading. Some of the things we do pay for in that launch in June, we pay for in current fiscal year, and then we'll pay for the other parts of things next fiscal year. So there's an opportunity there. That is my proposal, and I'm here to answer any of your questions.
Okay, Susan, any questions?
No.
John?
No, I think I was looking over the budget, and I think we have a lot of areas where we can take money from to pay for this, to make the budget adjustment work perfectly.
Thank you. Tara?
Nope, I don't have anything. I would just say 3 cheers for the craft cart, though. That's great. I mean, it's been great. I was in the library with a little one using the craft card, and it was terrific. So I know $600 isn't much, but if it makes it work for the rest of the year, then I'm all for that.
If I can get a motion to approve.
I'll make a
I
motion
move.
to approve it.
Then I'll second.
Okay, we have a vote on the motion to approve the request for fiscal year 2021-2022 budget adjustments on total of $32,000 for the Canopy Craft cart programs and supplies and staff and public computer equipment.
Don Krischer,
Yes.
Susan Murphy,
Yes.
Tara Twomey,
Yes.
Bill Pardue.
Yes.
Approved. Thank you.
Okay, and I think that, all right, are there any future agenda items that we haven't already captured?
Yeah, so this is Tara. So Ashley, I know that we're still kind of in the middle of the pandemic and the library isn't getting used physically that much, but can you next go around maybe give us a short report on the gathering place, maybe you and Alex or whomever, just to, I know we opened, we have some procedures in place, kind of like a soft opening. I don't even know if we're using it. So could we just get an update? Not now, but
Yes.
next go. Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
Okay,
And then I would potentially like to look at, depending on timing, but starting the end of March, doing a first pass at our budget.
okay. All right. Any other future agenda items we need to include? Okay, if there's nothing else, we'll adjourn and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.